Hi, I'm Amy Major. I just wanted to give a little bit of a background on rescue mediumship. A lot of people have been asking me what exactly rescue mediumship is. And I have people all over the world coming to me asking me. And the thing is that the rescue mediumship has actually been around for quite a long time. We've actually incorporated rescue mediumship into various forms of mediumship throughout history, throughout mediumship in general. And the funny thing is that as well, rescue mediumship was actually around before. Spirit or psychic mediumship is around, and before we knew that we were able to connect to those on the other side. When I started my development in mediumship, I would sit in development circles and I would immediately get surrounded by all of these spirits that would come around and start hounding me. And they were really, really heavy. They were really intense. They weren't looking to give a message. They weren't looking to give anything to me. They were looking to take something from me. They were looking to receive something from me. And it didn't make sense for me because it's like I thought spirits on the other side, they have everything they need. They're in the light. They're here to provide love and messages and kindness and inspiration to a few of us here on the planet that are able to connect to them. And these spirits did not want any of that. If anything, they were needy, hostile, frustrated, scary, and a little bit temperamental, or a lot of it temperamental. And they would come and surround me as I'm trying to do these mediumship circle groups. And I pushed them away and I pushed them away, and I couldn't figure out exactly what was going on. And over the course of the years, going to my guides, going to teachers, going to various circle groups of the spiritualist churches, I found out that these spirits were something called earthbound spirits. And these are people who have actually passed away and they haven't made the full transition to the light. So they're in between states of consciousness. We have many layers on the fourth dimension, which is what we call the astral realm. And in these layers, they can get caught in between these layers and stuck in between their transition period. Now, they're not stuck against their will. They're not stuck and held hostage. They are in a pending and transitionary period where their fear, their desires, their hostility, their frustration, their anger has led them to hold on to emotional baggage enough to hold their frequency down at a lower vibration, keeping them in a lower state of consciousness that's not able to allow them to see the light, not able to transition all the way, be able to connect to guides and angels. So they go out searching for any energy that's healing, that's comforting, that they can sense, that this person can sense and see them. They're going to reach out to so many different people that carry a certain vibratory frequency in their aura. Well, I did not know I had this aura, and I just thought I was a regular medium, but no, these earthbound spirits knew I was a rescue medium before I did. And they were hounding me over and over and over again. My guides did say repeatedly, Amy, you're here to help them. This is your job. This is what you came to do. And I didn't like that. I wanted to be in the light. I wanted to be able to connect to those that were friendly and loving and kind. And I could connect to spirit guides, and I sometimes could connect to mom, dad, aunt, uncle on the other side. But these spirits that were earthbound were more profound. They were more in my face. They were more intense. They wouldn't go away. And for many of you, you're going to find that you're going to have all of these spirits that are around you, circulating around you, finding you, waking you up in the middle of the night, asking you, demanding from you attention and help. And they're waiting for you to give it to them. Most people don't know what to do. They're like, what do I do? Who do I contact? Where do I send them to? Do I go into light? How do I even open a door to the light? There's so many things that people have to learn. And I had to learn this all from this state of being unaware of rescue mediumship. I had to learn from the other side. I had no idea that this form of mediumship actually existed. We hear about ghosts on occasion, and we hear about, these hauntings, and nobody really knows what they are. We didn't know where ghosts, how they really exist, or how they came about, or why they are where they are. And I didn't really care. I really wasn't into the paranormal. I would go to church several times growing up. I would be focused on church and spirituality and heaven. I'd watch every movie that there was out there about heaven. I would try to gain as much access as I could about learning about the other side. I was addicted to spirituality growing up throughout my entire life, but I never really kind of said anything, and I never really told anybody about the voices I was hearing my whole life, as well as my guides coming through, talking to me, astral projection, past life dreams, all these crazy things happening, but no one really ever explained connecting to a ghost. No one really talked about it because it was one of those, ooh, spooky, we're gonna freak you out with all these movies about ghosts. And I'm sorry, Steven Spielberg, poltergeist freaked me out when I was a kid. And ever since then, I really didn't want anything to do with ghosts. But lo and behold, here are all these ghosts, and they want my attention. And when I go to the other side, they all say, Amy, this is what you came to do. I thought they were nuts. I'm like, I must be hearing it wrong. This isn't right. And I would go and I would see other mediums, and they would come to me and they would get a message and like, you have all these spirits around you that are not in the light. I'm like, oh no. It's like, can I just not get around these ghosts, get them away from me? I don't want anything to do with them. Well, year after year, over time, I just learned, how to deal with them. I learned why they stay behind. I learned what is the reason for them to stay in the lower state of consciousness, and I started to help them. I couldn't push it away anymore. When something keeps coming back, you push it away, it comes back, you push it away. I think it's something you're supposed to deal with. So I dealt with it. And I started learning everything I could about rescue mediumship. I didn't even know that there was a term called rescue mediumship until my guides were giving me some pieces of information, and I would just Google, look up as much as I can. There's no classes on this stuff. Nobody really talks about it. All the mediums I went to go talk to say, oh, earthbound spirits don't exist. Oh, we don't talk to those kind of ghosts. Oh, you need to stay away from them. They're all bad. So it's like I had nothing to reference other than haunted television shows and haunted stories or books that are on the bookshelves of Barnes Noble. There wasn't anything out there that actually taught people how to connect to ghosts and help them cross over. So I went to the other side. I said, okay, train me, teach me. What do I need to know? And they started giving me terms. I started looking them up, and lo and behold, there's this term called rescue mediumship. And I started looking, and I started like, wait a minute. And they started talking in the same terms, the same words that my guides were giving me. And I like flipped out. I was like, oh my gosh, this is real. This is real. People are actually doing this form of mediumship. It's called rescue mediumship. So I started Googling more, I started training more, and I actually had a really, really great teacher, April Sharon in Derry, New Hampshire, who was able to really help walk me through doing a house clearing, self-protection techniques. She had connected to earthbound spirits as well. And my guides were like pushing me through her door for like 6 months. And I'm like, I'm not going. I'm like, okay, finally I'm going. I'm going her door. And it started my career in rescue mediumship back in the year 2000. And I haven't really looked back since then. So now I train people all over the world in rescue mediumship. I have my 2 books, Toward the Light and Light the Way. Toward the Light is more of a general understanding of rescue mediumship, what we do, why earthbound spirits stay behind. Light the Way is designated to be a field guide, something to help train rescue mediums, something I wish that I had a long time ago, but I didn't. So everything that's in the book is things that I would have liked to have known. They are general, and they're here to give you a foundation, but they're not to train you through experience. Everything that you go through, every situation you face, every ghost that you experience will teach you more and more and more. I'm just here to give you the foundation. And for those of you who don't want to become rescue mediums, I'm here to just help you understand the meaning behind earthbound spirit. We try not to use the word ghost that much anymore because ghost has been depicted as something very dark, very spooky, scary, those haunted shows, whereas earthbound spirit does describe them as a spiritual being, a soul that's in between states of consciousness, which is exactly what a ghost is. But people have a deeper understanding with earthbound spirits. Rescue mediums specialize in communicating with just earthbound spirits. We connect with them, we communicate. We try to find out everything there is to know about them. We try to find out what's the reason why they stayed behind. What's the baggage they're holding on to? What's the unfinished business? After we communicate and gather some information, that's where we go into the counseling part. And I'm not talking counseling as far as, oh, tell me about your problems, going in and getting a counselor certificate. Quite often, a lot of rescue mediums do have counseling, psychiatry, psychology backgrounds, which is a wonderful thing to have. But the type of counseling that I'm talking about is more of just being able to talk with them, give them some friendly advice, give empathy, sympathy, being able to be an ear or a shoulder to cry on, be able to let them say their piece. And it's just being a friend, just being someone who can understand. The last part is to help them actually cross over, and that is guidance. But we don't just say, okay, there's the light, there you go. Most of the time, they don't know where the light is. They would not be in the situation they are in right now. Quite often, a lot of these spirits get lost along the way. They get lost in their emotions. They get lost in their thoughts. They get lost in the history. They get lost in the process. So we're here to help point them in the right direction, but we do it through various ways, such as bringing in their guides and angels, connecting them to friends and family, opening up a portal to the light, being able to raise their internal frequency so they're able to see the light on their own. There are many, many, many techniques and practices in rescue mediumship that help these spirits cross over. Now, I know a lot of you are asking me here, why can't they just do it? Why can't their guide just come in and pull them into the light? Good question. And the answer is free will. Spirit guides and angels can't just make them cross over. And quite often, these spirits that are stuck in a lower state of transition cannot see their guides and angels. Guides and angels are on a higher vibrational frequency. They are in the light. So these earthbound spirits aren't able to see the light. They're not, how can they see their guides if they can't even see the light? It doesn't mean that they're not there. Guides and angels are there all the time, but these earthbound spirits are on a frequency where they're only able to see a certain range. Within that range are rescue mediums. We carry a vibratory frequency that closely matches the earthbound spirits. That's why they could see us so clearly and we can see them so clearly. So we're here to be the mediator. We're here to be the guide. We're here the one to change their frequency so they can see the light, so they can rise to the higher states of consciousness. It does take time, and it does take a lot of skill and training, dedication, and a lot of thick skin because quite often when we're dealing with some of these earthbound spirits, they're not so nice. I gotta say, some of the most horrific things I've ever seen in my life are through the minds of some of these earthbound spirits, the darkness that takes them over, and they can be exactly what created the darkness in the first place. Murder victims, rape victims, suicide victims, those who've been in car accidents, people that are just in a state of trauma. All of that is circulating inside the auric field of the earthbound spirit. And rescue mediums, we need to be able to get through that, which means we need thick skin. We need to be able to connect to them and not be affected, not be traumatized, not be influenced by the dark at all. So we need to have really thick skin. We need to be able to master our fears. We need to be able to conquer that trauma and that darkness and help be the light, in a matter of speaking, for these earthbound spirits to be able to release this emotional baggage that they're holding. And once we do finally get them to transition, and we cannot force them to transition, we can only persuade, in a matter of speaking, bringing in guides, bringing in angels, creating the perfect atmosphere, counseling them through their issue. We can't ever promise what they're going to experience on the other side, but we can let them know that they're going to experience something loving, very peaceful, a wonderful place for them to heal and to rest, a place of understanding and a remembrance of their higher form. Sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes they really don't want to go. And we cannot force free will. We cannot force the spirits to cross over. So what we need to do is create a healing space. We need to give them a resting place, or we need to become security. And this is the harder part of rescue mediumship, where there are a lot of spirits that come in to traumatize, to be hostile, to attack, to victimize people, and to create a very scary environment. There are nasty people in the world, and when they move to transition to spirit, that sometimes does not change. So rescue mediums now take on the form of security. We work with security in the spirit world. They work with us as a team, and we come in to protect those that are being harassed by earthbound spirits. If we can get them to transition, that's wonderful. If we can get them to a place of healing, that's wonderful. If we have to get them in a lockdown situation, bringing in spiritual services that are protective on the other side, angels and shepherding spirits, we have to do that as well. And then the place of clearing comes in. This is where we start clearing all fragmented forms. We start clearing residual thought processes, time imprints, energy clusters, all of these things that the spirit and the situation can leave behind. It's like a mark on the place. Quite often, a lot of people think their places are haunted because they have these imprints in their places. And they're like, this is spooky, this is scary, I don't understand it. And they can really mimic an earthbound spirit quite well. But we have tools and techniques, again, to be able to help us understand whether it's an imprint or a spirit. And that's what I train. I train other mediums to be able to step in, analyze, investigate, and then work through it. If you are experiencing any earthbound spirits or any hauntings in your area, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help you anytime. Again, if you want to know more information about rescue mediumship, there is the book Toward the Light, which does give a lot of general information. If you do want to train in rescue mediumship, reach out to my book, Light the Way, or you can meet me online. I have a Facebook group called Rescue Mediumship. I also have my website, amymajor.com. I just ask you to come reach out. Please find a resource, connect to me, be able to ask questions. And there are no silly questions. So many people are experiencing so many different situations, and it's really best that you just ask instead of being able to do this all on your own. You're not alone. I'm here to help. So if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask, and I'm happy to assist you. Thank you.